So you're in the hunt, buy a home, and you can't really figure out the budget aspect of it. Do you make enough? Are you making 2,500? Are you making 5K plus a month? So in this video, I'm gonna break down 3 different scenarios, 3 different price points. So that way, if you are paying a certain amount between you and your roommates or you and your spouse, you can have an idea of what you can afford. Now, affordability aspect, a lot of this is going to be tied in with a lender. So if you really want the specific numbers, shoot me a text or give me a call and I'll get you tied up with a lender who can start breaking down your finances and really give you an idea on what you could be approved for or fully approved for, or at least pre-approved for. So the first scenario, are you currently paying about $2,500 a month per rent? Well, if that's the position you find yourself in, you actually can buy a home. Okay, so let's just say that's you in this scenario. Well, you probably actually can afford a home that's $350,000. And I want to show you what a home that's worth $350,000 looks like. Now, yes, that might mean it's not in the middle of the city or in the most prime location that you want to be in, but the goal here is asset growth. A goal here is so you can own a home, right? Instead of being a renter, because yes, there's doom and gloom. Yes, depending on where you're at, maybe you should rent instead of buying. But in most cases, the affordability aspect will be better if you do buy the home as far as the long term. And yeah, you might not live in it for 30 years. You might not live in it for 20 years, 10 years. You don't have to sell it, maybe turn it into a rental. And you can see where rent prices are going. Does it look like they're getting lower? Not really. And then you are coughing up $2,500 a month, $2,600 a month, $2,700 a month on just rent. It was never really going to your own pocket, or at least like your own equity growth, or you weren't paying down anything, right? Or you at least don't really own the home or apartment that you're living in. Well, if you buy that asset and are paying $2,600, $2,700 a month, and it's going into your own property, your own cozy home, let's even say that you may not like certain aspects of the home. Well, you can change it and make it something that you love, and you're basically paying the same amount as you're renting. Yes, there's flexibility aspects of it, and there are pros and cons to both, but there is the ability and there is definitely possibilities out there as far as if you're paying $2,500 a month and you're really like thinking in your head, man, can we afford to buy a home? You can. Okay, now we're gonna try another scenario. So let's say you make $3,500 a month. Well, realistically, you could probably afford a home that's $550K. And this isn't to say that you buy the home at the max limit. This just gives you an idea of the range in which you can acquire something, right? So maybe you were looking at a certain home in a certain neighborhood and it just was above your price point or not worth it what you thought. Well, maybe you just spread it out a little bit and you can find something that's worth what you really want to pay. For instance, this home I'm in right now is listed at $550,000. Yeah, it could go for more, but it also could go for less in the current market we're in. And it's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. It's got 3,500 square feet. Yeah, the lot size may not be the biggest lot size, but a good yard. And it's a 2020 build, or I'm sorry, it's a 2022 build. But check this out. This home you can afford for $550,000. It could be possible you could get it to $535, $540. But that just shows you what's out there. 2-story, you got 3 bedrooms upstairs, office in the front. And that's just a little glimpse. This is just one home and there's thousands, right? Especially in the DFW, Dallas area where we're at. This home right here, like I said, it's $550,000. You'd basically be paying $3,500 to $3,700 a month, depending on what you put down, depending on the insurance you get, depending on your debt to income ratio. This is why I say you got to get tied up with a lender to really figure it out. But $3,600 a month, if you're already paying that somewhere where you don't own it, this is what you can own. Sure, it might be a little further out than you want, but it's sometimes when you buy a home, you do have to be flexible depending on your price point and what are you going to sacrifice, right? More space, more bang for the buck, or closer to my workspace or closer to wherever you want to be, right? It's always going to depend on those factors. Okay, now let's say you're spending a little more than that. So let's say you're in the 5K plus 5,500 a month. Well, you can actually afford a home around $750,000, right? $750,000 give or take. course, it's going to depend on certain factors. If you're paying that much to rent somewhere, you can definitely buy. Of course, it's going to depend on where you want to be, but in most cases, you can definitely make that dream a reality. And it's just about breaking down where you want to be, how you want to do it, and maybe being flexible here and there. But even with 5,000 plus a month, there's a lot of options for you out there. All right, so that gives you perspective if you are in those price ranges and you're really contemplating, should I keep renting? Should I try to buy? Hey, I would try to act on it, especially if you're in the DFW, Austin, Houston region. There's a lot of growth coming our way. If you've seen any of my older videos, I've illustrated all the growth that's happening in this little mega triangle we have going on. So I definitely think prices will be a little higher, and that's not to put FOMO out there, but it's a really great time. There's a lot of homes out there for sale, more than we had a couple of years back. And there's sellers that have been in waiting and they're becoming impatient and they're willing to bend. Not only are they willing to bend on price, but they're also willing to bend on how the negotiation process is going, right? There's some sellers that if you give them the asking price that they're asking for, they might cover half your closing costs. It's a might, but that's the market we're in. And this would be the time to try to take advantage of that before that market is gone. Don't let fear win in the end. With the right guidance and the right expectations, you can really take advantage to create the next step and really make that dream a reality. A lot of people have said that the American dream is dead, and there's just a lot of doom and gloom as far as the younger generation. We do have different times. Things are more expensive, but I tell you one thing, as a real estate agent, people are still buying homes. So if you're in that mind frame of no one's buying, how can anyone afford? Well, they're able to buy homes, and soon, if you really want to establish yourself as far as where you want to be, it'd be best to try to take advantage of it sooner than later. And maybe just finding out what you need is the best step for you. When the time comes when you're actually ready to buy, you have nailed all the things that you need to do. All the steps are in line, so that way you can go pre-approved, get approved, buy the home, no issue. Feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I'm a real estate agent in the DFW Metroplex. We do help people that are not just specifically DFW, okay? I also help people in Austin and also the outer regions of Dallas-Fort Worth. So what are you waiting for? It's time to make that transition to renting to owning and really start building a future that's yours. Thank you though if you made it this far. Drop a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this home that we're actually in right now. Do you think it's worth $550,000? Would you pay $550,000 for it? I'm always trying to put out stats of what's going on in the area and information as far as the DFW Metroplex and Austin outer region. And any real estate things that are happening, I try to be the forefront to showing that information. Until next time, take care and happy house hunting.